Praises to the Creator, yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about what Yah brought to my attention about Sarah. About Sarah, the line of Israel, the Israelites have to be from Sarah, and they have to be from Shem. That's it. You have to have a man that is either from Israel and a woman from the line of Shem. Or you have to have a woman who is Israel and a man from the line of Shem. Or you have a woman who is Israel and a man who is Israel. In order to be considered Hebrew, and also and then down the line in order to be an Israelite. Being a Hebrew and an Israelite is two different things. Being a Hebrew and an Israelite is two different things. And they need to stop teaching this crap that is only a patriarchal line. No, it's not. No, it's not. Then you just ran right over everything in Deuteronomy. In Exodus, in the book of Exodus. Because there were people there that came out who were half Israelite and half Mitzrayim. And the Most High Yah did not count them. And they were men. And he did not count them as Israel. They could not speak. You need to go read your book again. But women could. Miriam was able to speak. There was other women who was able to speak. There was other women who was able to go to the temple, but these half breeds were not. That's why he said he loves the proselyte. Why does he love the proselyte? Why does he love the proselyte? Because there are people out here who are half Israelite that he wants them to be saved. Y'all showing me these things. So let's learn. Let's learn right now. So I asked these questions based on the based on the Stone Edition Tanakh and based on the Apocryphal books. Then I went on and asked these questions. So based on the Stone Edition Tanakh, Art Scrolls, Masoretic publication, and traditional rabbinic interpretation, the definition of an Israelite and the requirement to separate from foreign nation involves specific lineages and covenants. According to the traditional Jewish thought presented in the Stone Tanakh, here are the examples and verses. Ishmael and Esau as non-Israelites. Although Ishmael and Esau were biological descendants of Abraham, they were not part of the covenant line or the nation of Israel. Ishmael, the Most High explicitly told Abraham that the covenant would not pass through Ishmael, even though he was Abraham's son. Verses to prove this is Genesis 17:20-21. But my covenant I will establish with Isaac. So you have to be from Sarah. You have to be from Sarah. She is the princess. You go look up what her name means. She is the princess. She was chosen. She came straight from the line of Eve. She had both the line of Eve and both the line of Adam in her. That's why she was special. That's why she was so beautiful. That's why she looked so young at her age. Because she was pure-blooded. She was a pure-blooded woman. She didn't have no mixing in her. But my covenant I will establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you at the time of next year. Do you see this? This is all about Sarah. Go look up her name. Do you hear that? This is all about Sarah. Sarah only had one child, and that was Isaac. And everything was established with her. The covenant was established with her. Commentary: Ishmael and his descendants are considered progenitors of Arab nation, not Israelites. Esau, despite being Isaac's son, Esau's line was separate. Genesis 25 and 23. Why Esau line was separate? Because Esau refused to follow the law, statutes, commandment. He dared. Do y'all? If y'all understand what y'all showed me last night. So, when you follow the law, statutes, commandments, when you follow them, it changes your DNA. It changes. He showed this to me last night. So, how he showed it to me is water. And when I laid into the water, the water of Yah pierced my DNA. It was piercing my DNA. Now, because I am just in the beginning stages of my practicing and the learning, because I only started being Yah only 2 years ago. So, because I only started, it is slowly changing your DNA. It slowly changes your DNA. This is literally the fountain of youth. The water that you need. So y'all showed me laying in the water, and the water was entering into my DNA and changing it. That's your upgrading. That is your upgrading. Y'all, I saw this clear as day. He showed it to me last night in a dream. When you follow those laws, statutes, commandments, this is why he says in Ezekiel, he's not being figurative. He's being literal in Ezekiel 20, when he said, if you keep his Sabbaths, and when you follow his laws, statutes, commandments, and you keep them, you will live. There is scripture proving that the more you sin, the more we sin, the quicker we die. Scripture says that, and I will prove that to you next. The more you sin, the quicker you die. That's why we kept dying younger and younger and younger, because of sin. And when you follow the laws, statutes, commandments, you live longer, you look better, you age better, you do better, because it goes into your actual cells and rejuvenate you. Now, this is about Sarah right here. It's about Sarah. The children, the seed of the woman. The seed of her. He says it in Genesis. He proved it to you in Genesis. He proved it with Sarah. He proved what he meant, that the seed of the woman was going to beat the head of the serpent. Who is the seed of the woman? Who is the seed of the woman? That is who? Isaac. That's the seed of the woman that the Most High Yah was talking about in Genesis. Now, Esau, despite being Isaac's son, Esau's line was separate. Genesis 25 and 23, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 kingdoms will separate from your bowels. Esau is identified as Edom, not Israel, and is considered a Gentile in the terms of conventional status. He is a Gentile. All of Abraham's kids are considered Gentiles. The Torah mandates that Israelites not intermarry with the 7 Canaanite nations, as they would turn the Israelites away from the Most High Yah. In the post-exile period, Ezra demanded the removal of foreign wives and their children to ensure purity in the nation. So they, Israelites, were married to foreign wives, and those children are not considered Israelites. They are Gentiles. But they had fathers who were Israel, and they are considered Gentiles. These are the people that the Most High God needs us to turn back to come and be proselytes. This is why they're going to get to come live with us. That's scriptural that you hear that? This is why they're going to come get to live with us, because they're half Israelite. Y'all be showing me stuff, y'all. I asked the questions, he showed it to me. Now, the commandment, general, in Deuteronomy, you shall not intermarry with them. You shall not give your daughters to his sons, and you shall not take his daughters for your sons, for he will turn away your son from following me. That's a stone addition to Torah. Action, Ezra, Nehemiah. Ezra 10:11. Separate yourselves from the people of the land and from the foreign women. Stone addition to not the children. Ezra 10:44. All these had married foreign women, and some of them had wives by whom they had children. Stone addition to not. The commentary in Ezra 9-10 explains that because these wives did not convert according to the law, the children were not considered part of the Israelite community, married within the lineage of Shem. The Tanakh emphasized that the chosen line goes through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all that whom are descended from Shem, the son of Noah. Abraham sends his servant to his birthplace to find a wife for Isaac, avoiding the Canaanites. Verses Genesis 24-34. But you shall go to my land and to my birthplace to take a wife for my son, for Isaac. She had to be a pure-blooded Hebrew. Jacob's lineage. Jacob is ordered to marry into the family of Laban, Mesopotamia, because what? The Mesopotamians or who? Mesopotamians are who? They are Shem's kids. Shem's children were pure-blooded people. Some of them, not all of them. Let's rephrase that. The Mesopotamians were pure-blooded. They didn't mix with the other people. Assyrians did. That's why we ain't supposed to be mixing with them. The Mitzrayim did. That's why we're not supposed to be messing with them. Mitzrayim, y'all call it Egypt. Egypt is not. That is not the name. Mitzrayim, if you go look up the Mitzrayim, you will find out those are those people, the original people y'all call Egyptians, were Shem's children, and then it eventually turned over to the Canaanites and came over to Ham. You hear that? This is why when Joseph married the priest's daughter, she was a what? She was this. So Isaac summoned Jacob and blessed him. Do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Arise and go to Padad Aram and take for yourself a wife from there. Why? Because she was pure-blooded, wasn't mixed. The Mesopotamians did not mix. The Hebrews did not mix. Even Walter Plecker, go look at this thing. Go read the thing he wrote down. He said the Hebrews would not mix. They were pure-blooded. And that was in 1920 something. Walter Plecker said the Hebrews do not mix. So Isaac summoned Jacob and blessed him. Do not take a wife from the daughter of Canaan. Arise and go to Padad Aram and take for yourself a wife from there. Definition of mother and father. Tribal lineage is father. Tribal identity is passed through the father. Jewish identity, mother. According to the Talmud traditions, which informs the Stone Edition, not Jewish identity is passed through the mother. It is passed through the father and the mother. You have to have both. And they need to stop the lying. If that's the case, then the women that had children when they were in Mitzrayim, those children would have been Israelites, and they weren't. Just like with the father, with Abraham having kids, Isaac having, they all had kids from other women. The only one who didn't have kids out of the line is who? Jacob. Jacob did not have kids out of the line. You're like, well, he had Bilhah and them were who? They were Mesopotamia. That was their reward for not mixing. Those two sisters that he had, that was his reward for not mixing. That was the reward for not mixing. And we already know that Laban's daughters was the uncle of Isaac's wife. So we already know they were pure-blooded. Okay? So let me do something else. Hold on. Now, I just added in Abraham's other 6 sons. And then they're telling how many daughters that he had. They always talking about the sons. They don't never talk about the daughters. Now, the sons of now you know Ishmael came from Hagar. And tells Abraham, through Isaac shall your offspring be named. Even though Ishmael was Abraham's physical son, he was not the heir of the land of Israel or the specific spiritual mission. Why? Because it did not come from Sarah, the son of Kethar. After Sarah died, Abraham married Kethar and had 6 sons. Abraham gave all he had to Isaac, but to the sons of the concubines, Abraham gave gifts, and while he was still living, he sent them away eastward to the east country. He sent them east. Where is that? Assyria. Where's Assyria? We know that is East America. Esau, the son of Isaac. Though Esau was firstborn of Isaac and Rebekah. Okay, so Rebekah had Jacob to marry her uncle's kids. He sold his birthright. In Malachi 1-3, this text reflects the distinction. I love Jacob, but Esau I hated. Hated just mean rejected, y'all. The command to put away strange wives. The most famous instance of Israelites being commanded to separate from non-Hebrew wives. You hear that? Non-Hebrew wives and children occurred after the Babylonian exile under Ezra. In Ezra 10:23, we have transgressed against our God and have taken strange wives of the people of the land. Now, therefore, let us make a covenant with our God to put away all the wives such as are born of them, and the children too. They're half-breeds. And the Most High Yah, if they want to be proselytes, they can be proselytes, but they are not Israelites. But the Most High Yah said, when the proselytes come to us, that is in, I believe that is in Isaiah 14. When they come, they will begin to live with us too. So because they are, but they have to convert to being Yah only and not doing all these other things. Torah forbade intermarriage with the 7 nations of Canaan, specifically because for they will turn away the sons from father me, they may serve other gods. The lineage table of the nation Shem. Now you see Shem. You mentioned that the people of Mesopotamia and Mitzrayim were from Shem according to the table of nations. There's slight distinct. Mesopotamia, Aram, Ashur, that is the line of Shem. Mitzrayim, the line of Ham. Genesis lists Mitzrayim as the son of Shem, Ham, not Shem. This is why Egypt is often referred to the line of Ham. Okay, so I'm just proving. I'm finna show you that the one that Joseph married, she was this. She was from here. She was Mesopotamia. She was not Mitzrayim. Example of Hebrew wives from the line of Shem. To ensure the lineage remained pure within the family of Shem and Eber, the patriarchs were specific. Isaac's wife, Abraham, made his servant swear that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, but thou shalt go unto the country of my kindred, Mesopotamia, Shem's line. Jacob's wives. Isaac told Jacob, thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise and go to Padan Aram and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. See that? In the book of Tobit and Jubilees, found in some traditional version, the Tanakh and the secondary canon, these themes are even stronger. Tobit 4:12. Chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy father, and take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribe, for we are the children of the prophets. Summary of required. During the period of the patriarchs and the return of the exiles of Ezra, the emphasis was endogamy, married within the group. While a father lineage determined the tribe, Levi, Judah, the mother's status became the definition of the factor. The mother's status became the definition of the factor. Yes, the father's lines told you what tribe you in, but the definition of the mother, the factor of you being Israelite. To ensure that the children remain within the covenant community. Now, what was the other thing I was finna do? Hold on, let me do. Okay. So the tradition that Joseph's wife Asina was not a native Egyptian, but rather a descendant of Shem and Eber and Dinah, were through who? Eber. Through who? Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. She came. See, they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that she came from Dinah. It's primarily found in the Masoretic literature and the Targumaic tradition rather than the Book of Joshua, Jubilees, and the standard biblical text. Dinah had kids. Dinah got married. Dinah had children. Dinah married an Israelite. Dinah had children before she passed away. They're hiding this, just like they're hiding that Miriam is the mother of Joshua, son of Nun. Do y'all see this? Do you see this? Do you see this? Do you see this? I told y'all. Pikri Rabbi Ezer further details that tradition asserting that Jacob's daughter Dinah was raped by Shechem, and the result a child was away by Jacob to Egypt, where she was found to be Potiphar's, a different or same person to take in. mentioned the connection between Ashina and Dinah. Dinah. They keep hiding these children from the women. So I told y'all, they keep hiding this stuff. Joshua's son of Nun mom was Miriam. And Dinah had kids too. They don't tell you all of Dinah's story. Y'all showed me this in a while ago that we never married outside. He never accepted anybody. You had to be Hebrew. The women had to be Hebrew that they married. And they had to be full-blooded. They couldn't be mixed in with the seed of man. They could not be mixed in with the beasts of the field. They could not be mixed with that. They had to be full-blooded human, coming straight down the line from who? Adam and Eve. They had to be that. If they were not coming straight out of the line, full intact DNA, they could not be in our tribe. This is why the Most High Yah put away Abraham's kids. See that? They Gentiles. So I just proved that to you. She came through who? She was who? Dinah's. They keep leaving all this stuff out. This part out. Hold on. It was one more thing I had to prove to y'all. Okay, the Stone of the Shinnah, various apocryphal books, specific verses describe a future with righteous, non-Jews, proselytes, and foreigners are welcomed into the Most High Yah's presence, while those who persist in wickedness, often referred to as heathens, face destruction. Tanakh emphasizes that the Tanakh emphasizes that those from other nations who attach themselves to the Most High Yah will share in the blessings of the Messianic kingdom. The passage promises that the foreigner who attaches himself to the Most High Yah will not be kept apart. It explicitly states, I will bring them to my sacred mountain and let them rejoice in my house of prayer. For my house shall be called the house of prayer for all people. Malachi 3:19 describes a judgment of the wicked, states that for those who do wickedness, the coming day will burn like a furnace and shall not leave them root or branch, effectively cutting off their seed and lineages. Zechariah declares 13:2 declares that the Most High Yah will cut off the names of the idols from the earth and remove the spirit of impurity, cleansing the world of righteousness. Zechariah 13:8 prophesies that in the end times, 2/3 of those in the land will be cut off and perish, while a remaining third will be refined and left alive. The apocryphal books, particularly those from the Second Temple period, contain stark warning about separation of the righteous from the heathens. 2 Esdras 2:7 speaks of those who despise my covenant, praying that they may be scattered abroad among the heathens and that their names be put out of the earth. 2 Esdras 2:34 encourages those among the heathens who hear and understand to look for your shepherd, promising them everlasting rest at the end of the world. First Esdras 9:9 commands the righteous to separate yourself from the heathen of the land, a theme often linked to preserving the holy seed from being corrupted by those who refuse to follow the Most High Yah's laws. Proselytes welcome into the house of prayer, serving the Most High Yah in his sacred. Heathens, wicked seed cut off from the earth, and their root and branch, lineage destroyed, names put out. Okay, so the proselytes can, will be. And it says it somewhere else too. Let me see. I'm trying to remember where it says it at. So the proselytes will be put out. Proselytes, if they follow the Most High Yah, you will get to come over here. But the other people, no. The heathens, no. Y'all won't. No, everybody can't be saved. Everybody won't be saved. And y'all need to stop lying. 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 Oh, here it is. It did it for me. I accidentally refreshed it and it did it for me. Oh, thank you, y'all. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this. The Stone Edition, not published by Orb Scrolls, emphasized the inclusion of righteous proselytes and the removal of the wicked in its translation and commentary. Isaiah 56, 3-7, the passage specifically addressed the son of the stranger proselyte who has joined himself to the Most High Yah. It promised that their offsprings will be accepted and they will have a hand and a name in the house of the Most High Yah that is better than sons and daughters. Isaiah 14:1 states that the proselyte, the stranger, shall be joined with them Israel, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, indicating their place in the restored kingdom. Zechariah 8:23 describes 10 men from various nations taking hold of the garment of the Israelites, saying, "Let us go with you, for we have heard that the Most High Yah is with you." Malachi 3:19 describes the heathen seed, or the wanton sinners. For behold, the day comes, burning like a furnace, like a wanton sinners, and everyone that does wickedness shall be stubble, and to them shall not be left a root or a branch. When he's saying a root or a branch, when he's talking about a tree, when he says out of the line of Jesse will be a branch, he is talking about a child. Zechariah 13:2 promised to that the Most High Yah will cut off the names of the idols from the earth and shall remove from the earth the spirit of impurity. Let's go to Judah. I read this command: the righteous separate yourself. Judas warns of fate of nations that rise up against Israel. The Most High Yah Almighty will take vengeance of them in the day of judgment, in putting fire and worms in their flesh, and they shall feel them and weep forever. Tobit 13:11 prophesies that many nations shall come from afar to the name of the Most High Yah with gifts in their hands, but also mention the curse upon those who despise the holy city. There'll be a curse on you who despise the holy city. Is there anything else I was supposed to talk to you about it in this? So we have learned today that yes, the patriarchs, it matter. Yeah, they matter what line you came from. This is why the Most High Yah informed me, showed me who I came from. I came from the line of Levi, and I came from the line of who? Ephraim. That was important. But he also let me know that it is also important that you came from the line of Sarah. Why? Because of what he said in Genesis. Sarah was the woman seed who did what? Sarah was the woman seed who did what? Who beat the head of the serpent. Because what we became, we became the priest for the world, teaching y'all's laws and commandments and keeping y'all on the right way, leading y'all back to Yah. She was that woman seed that he was talking about in Genesis. It was Sarah. That's why the Most High Yah would not let nobody else touch her. So it's because Sarai, yeah. It was Sarah. Sarah. She was the princess, and I will also show you that Sarai, what Sarai mean real quick, and then this is gonna be the end of this because of this. She is the one. Ooh, let me go to this Genesis. The woman's seed will crush the head of the serpent's seed. You know what? Let's do this. Do. So the verse where it refers to in Genesis 3:15 in the Bible, which describes a conflict between the offspring of the woman and the offspring of the serpent. What woman are they talking about? The offspring of the woman. Y'all just showed me this, y'all. It is Sarai. The offspring of the woman and the offspring of the serpent. What offspring is the woman they talking about? They're talking about Sarai. The exact wording can differ between translations, and some uses shall crush your head, and others, particularly the Catholic translation, she shall crush your head. In Genesis 34 in Stone Edition Tanakh, the Stone Edition Tanakh, which contains the Hebrew Torah, prophets, and writing, and not Apocrypha, offspring of the woman, it does not use the phrase versus woman seed would crush the head of the serpent, but it describes a repetitive striking bruising. It will put enmity between you and the woman, and in between your offspring and hers. She shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. Y'all, let me see. No. So, the woman seed that they're talking about, the woman they see they're talking about is what? Is who? Sarai. Whose seed got the covenant? Isaac. Isaac had Jacob. Jacob brought into what? The priestly line. A pure-blooded priestly line who taught Yah only. This is these people. That is Sarai they're talking about. Y'all, I love y'all with all my heart and all my soul, and I thank Yah, Haya, Yah, oh Yahweh, Yahuwah, and I call him Abba Yah. I love him with all my heart and all my soul for allowing me to do this and allowing me to be able to show you all these things. I am going to admit that I am a seer. The Most High Yah comes to me in my dreams and shows me things. And then I come back and then I look for them in the scripture. I look for them in the Tanakh and the books they told us not to read. And then I show y'all what Yah shows me. I show y'all what Yah shows me. I know what I meant to show you. In the Stone Edition Tanakh, let's see. Ezekiel 20. Oops. I meant to show you that the life is through the laws. He showed me that last night. In both the Stone Edition Tanakh and the Book of Jubilees, there is strong connection between observing the laws, and particularly the Sabbath, and the preservation of life. While Ezekiel 20 is emphasized that keeping the statutes is the way a person shall live, the Book of Jubilees specifically warns that extreme sins leads to drastic reduction in human lifespan, where a man might be considered long-lived if he reaches only a jubilee and a half, which is approximately 73 years old. And is that happening right now? Yes, it is. And y'all showed me this in a dream last night, y'all. He showed me this in a dream. That when you follow those laws, statutes, commandments, and you keep those Sabbath days, because see, I've been praying about my health, y'all. I've been praying about my health, and I couldn't understand what was going on. I'm alive, yes. I'm up walking, yes. I'm up talking, yes. But I want to be more active in the streets and out and teaching and traveling and teaching, but I cannot because my diabetes is off the chain. I'm going through menopause right now, and it is kicking my butt. I hardly get to leave the house. I probably leave the house probably 2 or 3 times a month. Most of the time I am laying in the bed, or you see me in my chair teaching, but as soon as I get through teaching, I get back in the bed. I spend a good 16 hours a day in the bed, except for on the Shabbat. And I'm tired of it. I walk out on my balcony every once in a while to go outside, but go downstairs and outside, I don't do it as much because I have been so sick. So he was showing me the more that I practice the law, the better I will begin to heal. Because remember, I had a dream that I was 100 years old. And at 100 years old, I was telling my daughter in the dream that I had 17 more children. I had 17 more children. And I was like, I have 17 more children. I look back and these are my kids. Sons and daughters I had standing behind me. And they were my children. So, he was showing me, the more you do this, you're going to get better. Because that's what I was worried about. I was stressing over my health. And I want to do things. And he was just like, just stay inside right now. Because during this little period of time, during the transition, the Most High God is working he's putting his foot in the butt of our enemies, in the butt of the wicked on earth right now. We just need to stay away from folks, y'all. We need to do that. He says that in Isaiah, stay in your house for a while. So we need to be doing that right now. Now, in both the Stone Edition Tanakh and the Book of Jubilees, there is a strong connection between observing the Most High Yah's laws, particularly the Sabbath, and the preservation of life. While Ezekiel 20 emphasizes that the keeping of the statutes is the way a person shall live, the Book of Jubilees specifically warns that extreme sin leads to a drastic reduction in human lifespan, where a man might be considered long-lived if he reaches only a jubilee and a half, approximately 73 and a half years. Life through laws in Ezekiel's 20 stone addition to not. In Ezekiel 20, the Most High Yah recounts his history with Israel, emphasizing that the laws give in the wilderness were intended to provide life, laws that bring life. The Most High Yah gave Israel statutes and ordinances by those observing, by who observes everyone shall live. Ezekiel 20, 11 and 13. The Sabbath is a sign. A Sabbath was established a specific sign between the Most High Yah and his people, intended for them to recognize that the Most High Yah sanctified them. Ezekiel 20, 12 through 20. The penalty for profanation. Despite these gifts, the house of Israel rebelled and greatly profaned the Sabbath because they rejected the rule that bring life. The Most High Yah at one point gave them decrees that were not good and regulations by which they could not live as a form of judgment. That is Ezekiel 20, 24 through 25. Y'all, that's the New Testament. Decreased lifespan in the Book of Jubilees. The Book of Jubilees expands on the idea that sin directly shortens human life, describes a future wicked age where longevity reaches an extreme low. Life less than 2 Jubilees. Jubilees chapter 23 describes a time of great tribulation and sin where if a man lives a jubilee and a half of years, which is 73 years and 5, they will say regarding him, he hath lived long. This is presented as a significant decline from the much longer lifespans of the patriarchs. They all lived to be like 120, y'all. Symptoms of decline. The text uses hyperbole to describe this degradation state that a child of only 3 weeks will appear old with whiter hair like a man of 100 years. Cause of shortening life. The reduction is not just a steady decline, but occurs through violence, warfare, constant calamities like illness and famine, also resulting from turning away of the Most High Yah's path, restoration through the law. The text promises that when children begin to study the law and return to the path of righteousness, their days will begin to increase again, eventually reaching 1,000 years old. The Book of Jubilees emphasized the Sabbath even more strictly than the Tanakh, labeling it a great sign kept by the angels in heaven. Death for desecration. Jubilees 50 and 12 and Jubilees 2 and 27 mandate that anyone who profanes the Sabbath shall surely die and be rooted out of the land. Blessings for observance. Those who keep the Sabbath from all work are promised to be holy and blessed throughout all their days. Would you like for us to look up how other apocryphal texts, such as the Book of Enoch and the Wisdom of Solomon, describe the relationship between sin and physical? Yes, I would like for you to do that. Decline of longevity in Jubilees. The author of Jubilees uses the relative short life of Abraham, which is 175, compared to earlier patriarchs like Adam and Seth, who lived over 900 years, to illustrate how sin affected human history, ancient versus modern. The text notes that the ancient days reached as many as 1,000 years, but due to the evil generations, even in sexual impurity and contamination, the typical long life has dropped to 70 or 80 years. The threshold of old age. In the state of extreme sin, a man who reaches only the jubilee and a half, approximately 75 to 5 years is considered a have a long lived. Premature aging. This text used vivid images to describe the physical toll of sin, stating that the head of children will turn white with gray hair, and a child of 3 weeks will appear as an old man of 100 years. Judgment through violence. The reduction of life is not just biblical, biological. The Most High Yah punishes the wicked generations by delivering them up to the sword, judgment, captivity, plundering, and devouring. Mandatory death for Sabbath desecration. The Book of Jubilees and the related apocryphal traditions. The Sabbath is a heavenly sign kept by the angels. Therefore, its violation is met with strictness and penalty. Jubilees 2:27 declares that anyone who profanes the Sabbath and does any work on it shall surely die and be rooted out of the land. Jubilees 50:12-13 lists specific actions on the Sabbath that carry death penalty, including traveling on a journey or traveling by ship, tilling, farming, lighting a fire or riding a beast, buying and selling, striking and killing anyone, fasting, and making war. I had to repent the other day about because I caught myself. I had pressed a button on my phone and bought something after I did my class. I did it after I did my class, and I thought about it. It was the sun hadn't went down, so I immediately repented, y'all. I immediately repented and started praising y'all and asking for forgiveness. Military conflicts. That strictness led to historical debates seen in other apocryphal books. First Maccabees, where some faithful Jews initially chose to die in their innocent rather than fight to defend themselves on the Sabbath. Restoration of life through the law. Hold on, I gotta put my phone in charger real quick. I did not know this was gonna be an hour long, but the Book of Jubilees promises that this decline can be reversed when humanity returns to the commandments. Return to righteousness. When children begin to study the law and return the path to the righteous, their days will begin to increase again, generation by generation. The target age. The text looks forward to a time when humans' lifetime will once again approach 1,000 years, and all the days will be filled with blessings and healings without the presence of a adversary. That's what Satan means, or evildoer. Would you like to examine how the text, such as the Wisdom of Solomon, describes the spiritual origin of death as the root of rooted in the devil's envy? No, I would not. But I would like for you to do in the book of Jeremiah. Yahweh will place the laws in our heart, and we will, will live as old as trees. How old is the oldest tree? The promise that the Most High Yah will place His laws in the hearts is found in Jeremiah 31 and 33, while the specific promise that the people will live long as trees is found in Isaiah 65 and 22. The laws in the heart in Jeremiah 31 and 33, Yahweh promised a new covenant. I will put my law in their inward parts, in their heart, and I will write it. As long as trees. Isaiah 65 and 22 describes a future state where As the days of trees, so shall the days of my people. In the era, someone who dies at 100-year old will be considered a mere child. The age of the oldest tree as of 2026, it says the tree called Methuselah is confirmed to be approximately about 5,000 years old. And the unnamed bristlecone pine tree in the same region, and it's in California. Yeah, the oldest tree. Y'all should know this is the old world. The oldest tree is in California, which is over 5,000 years old. Though exact date is kept a secret for protection. Exact data. Do you see that? Do you see that? The oldest tree is in. So it's a new trunk. We talking about the oldest tree. And he said we're going to live as oldest tree. And the oldest tree is what? 5,000 years old in where? California. Okay, y'all. I am done with this. And in order for me to be able to upload this on my Tickety Talk, it has to be under an hour. So we're at an hour at 56 minutes. So y'all, yes, give y'all the praise and all the glory. Remember, if you practice the law, if you keep his laws, if you keep his Sabbaths holy, if you keep them set apart, you will live. You will be you will regenerate, and your seed will regenerate, and you will live as old as a tree. Give y'all the praises, give y'all all the glory, and give him all this thing. All praises to the Most High, y'all, and him alone. Hallelujah. Woo!